Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Clever, and welcome to my YouTube channel. The main reason why I created this channel is to be able to talk about PvP with you guys. I'm a big fan of PvP. I'm a big fan of Pokemon Go in general, but once PvP came out, that completely has taken over. I wasn't able to record any of my matches actually while in the tournament, but Captain Evo, which was the last player I actually played against, was kind enough to send me the video footage of our last 3 battles. So in this video, what I'll be focusing on is on those 3 battles and what took place, how it went down, what tactics were utilized, and stuff of that nature. As you can see, he has a pretty solid team. He has a team composed of Azumarill and Metachan, which basically anybody in the Regionals Cup will have those two. He also brought Bastiodon, Tropius, Hunter, and Magnezone, which was still a surprise to me. I actually hadn't encountered a Magnezone before in battle. Although it was my first time encountering a Magnezone, I knew I had Marshtomp, and that's a big reason why I brought him on my team. He is a water ground type, so he is basically resistant to all those electric moves. Against his team, I guess Marshtomp comes positive in 3 matches: Bastiodon, Magnezone, and Hunter. I also like to say it's a positive matchup against Metachan depending on shield and energy scenarios. Now I decided to go with the Alola Marowak, mainly just to counter Metachan and Gallade. That's honestly the reason why I brought him here, and I know he could farm with them and be able to release Shadow Balls to the next months that come into battle. As a Marrow, I decided to run Ice Beam and Play Rough. Play Rough was for the mirror match. Ice Beam was just in case I found myself in a scenario where I would have to defend myself against the ice, against a flying type or a grass type Pokemon. Metachan, he's a no-brainer. He maxed out at 1431, level 40, and he basically stomps like 80-85% of the meta in this tournament. Bastiodon, he's just a tank. He's good against all the flyers. Don't have to shield. And I also decided to bring him just because I knew some people were going to bring Melmetal, and he's also able to defeat Melmetal. And last but not least, I decided to bring Skarmory, mainly because he just does so well in this meta. Yeah, he has his weaknesses, but the good thing about him is that when he faces any grass types, he's able to farm for energy while defeating them. If you notice, 3 of my Pokemon in my lineup serve that purpose, which is Alola Marowak, Marshtomp, and Skarmory. I love those 3, basically because I can just farm up, and then able to release 2 or sometimes even 3 charge moves to the next opponent. Alright guys, so basically we just reviewed my lineup. We went over his as well. And let me tell you that up to this point, I was so nervous. I was the only one that was still undefeated. This was going to be our 6th match. I believe his record was 4-1. I was 5-0. And when I tell you I was nervous, like my hands were sweating. You can tell because anytime I would grab the phone or something, I would have to wipe it down because sweat. It was there. Yeah, I know, disgusting, but that's the nerves. And I like PvP, but at the same time, it could be a little stressful, especially when you have a whole crowd of people just surrounding you and watching you play those final decisive matches. And I know that I had to win to be the undisputed champion, and I would be able to leave with a 6-0 record. But if I did lose, that would put him in 5-1, put me in 5-1, along with 2 other players, I believe, and it would have been a 4-way tie. I did discuss this with the organizers, and in the case that there was a tie, whether it be a 2-way, 3, 4-way tie, whatever the case may be, extra rounds would be played with those individuals that tied, so that one would be victorious and represent us at Worlds in Chicago. Before we get started on these matches, I'd like to give a shout out and a thank you to the SD Rainbow League for organizing these tournaments from the very beginning, with the Boulder Cup up to now, regionals. Anthony, thank you for having us. I know we've changed venues a couple times, but it's thanks to you. And the rest of your crew, they were able to play at TC Rockets. For those of you that don't know, that's a comic book store here in San Diego. Great place, awesome venue. We can even use their Wi-Fi at times when we're having issues with our internet or our phone carriers. But honestly, PvP, is stressful as it is, add to it a regional cup, add to it the winner gets to represent us at Chicago for the World Prelims. It's all crazy, man. You know, so thanks to them, we're able to just have a good venue, nice table set up, chairs, everything's already assigned. Once you get your match, you have a number, you go sit there, and all you have to do is worry about you, your phone, your team, and be ready to play against your next opponent. And that's what's great about these guys. So once again, thank you, Anthony, SD Rainbow League, TC Rockets, thank you for having us. And I'll be adding links to the SD Rainbow League and TC Rockets down in the description below. So if you're in town, you're ever here in San Diego, California, stop by TC Rockets or sign up for one of the SD Rainbow League Cups. All right, let's get started on these matches and let's see how it all went down. All right, starting off, we have the mirror match. We have Bastion versus Bastion. Now, the reason I chose Bastion to be my elite Pokemon was because he basically has a good matchup against more than half of the Pokemon that he brought with him. The first thing you'll notice is that he has charge move priority. I forgot to mention, this is his point of view, so I'm the one on the other side of the screen. But once again, he has charge move priority. So my main goal here is to not necessarily attempt to get to that charge move first, but to do an extra fast move. That way I have extra energy on him whenever he does release that flamethrower. So as you can see, he tapped on that flamethrower first, but I was still doing a fast move on my end, allowing me to gain that charge move priority for that eventual third charge move that's going to take place in just a few seconds. Now, y'all know how this ends up going. It's a long battle, but eventually what you want to do here is, see, there you go. Now I have charge move priority. I'll be able to knock him down, and no, he doesn't. He survives, and now he's able to take and use his flamethrower, and more than likely he's going to defeat me, and what I was trying to avoid it was just that. So I believe I bring Skarmory next. I'm not quite sure. Yep, I do bring Skarmory, and I'm hoping he didn't bring something that would counter me, but he ended up bringing Haunter, which was a fairly good matchup for me. Given I know we see his Pokemon, but I didn't know what he was using at that time, like during what was happening in the battle. But as you can see, Skarmory does good amount of damage against Haunter, and all I gotta do is make sure I survive and defeat him. Make sure I am able to see what his third Pokemon is before he kills me, because I don't want him to kill me and then he sees my third Pokemon, and I want it the other way. Now, I do think that was a mistake on my part. I should have shielded that. You'll see what I'm talking about once the video's over, but I do believe I should have shielded that. I should have saved that shield. But my mind is always keep a shield for the last Pokemon, and now that I see it's a Tropius and he brought me down, if I would have shielded that, it would have been game over there, you know? It would have been done for him. Now I have Alolan Marowak. The reason I brought Alolan Marowak with us in here was because a lot of people brought Metachan during their first round. Like their first battle, there was always a Metachan. So I kept him in the back just in case he did bring him. And you know what? I wasn't thinking. I should have used that shield, because even if it was Metachan versus Marowak at the end, he can tank a couple of power-up punches and ice punches, and all it takes is for one Shadow Ball. So that was my mistake. I totally, that was just all nerfs. And as you can see here, my hope is just to get to a Shadow Ball, release it, and hopefully defeat him. I do believe I did get to that Shadow Ball here, and no, see, I don't defeat him, and that's what ends up beating me. He uses that Leaf Blade, and I believe it's done here. Yeah, so that was a good game on him. Bad choice on me. And now we just have to make better choices, you know, for the second matchup. Not surprising, though. In a lot of my matches, I lost the first round. I always have a tendency of making poor choices the first time around, and then I get better on the second time. I read what type of Pokemon they prefer. Usually, when the player wins the first round, they don't change the order of their Pokemon, or if they do change the order, it's still those same three, so they just move them around, but they stick with the same Pokemon. I had a feeling that he was gonna go again with Bastiodon, so this time I took out a little Marowak and brought Marshtomp, and I placed him as my lead, and we'll see how it goes with him, and hopefully he brings that same lineup, and then see how my adjustments go. Now, luckily for us, he does go ahead and bring that Bastiodon, so that Marshtomp was a good call on my part. I already know I have to get as much fast moves as I can, but then he'll eventually switch out. So he brings out that Tropius. So what I do next is bring that Skarmory, and you already know the gameplay here. No matter what Tropius brings out to me, I will not shield, and I will not use a charge move. I'm just going to keep taking him down with fast moves and save that energy. And I know for a fact he'll be bringing back that Bastiodon, and my goal is to release a Flash Cannon, and if I can, possibly get a Sky Attack after that. And then that'll be it for Skarmory, so his purpose has been served. But for now, let's see what happens. You know, he does use that Leaf Blade, but I know it's not enough to KO me, and he'll be out here in the next few seconds. Now he's out there. As you can see, he's going to bring Bastiodon. First thing I do, Flash Cannon. You know, get a piece. You know, get a good piece of HP out of that Bastiodon. It's gonna help us at the end. And right now we're racing basically to the charge move. You can see that he would have been able to get to a move, but what happened is he just wants to take me down with fast moves, and that's a good call on him. I would have done the same thing, and I would not shield either. But now you know the gameplay here. Marshall comes in, he'll sweep. There's no need for me to shield. A Stone Edge will not do super effective damage, but this was a good move on his part. It would have been game over for him, but he made a good switch at the right time. And Hunter, he does a lot of damage with his fast moves. Even though he is weak to my moves, he does have shields, and Mudshot really doesn't do much, but Mud Bomb will defeat him. It basically KOs him. So as you can see, he did utilize his shields. I still have my shield in the back, and I decided to let him go because I do remember that I did bring a Bastiodon, and he is at full health. That Haunter will not do any damage to, well, he'll do damage, but he won't do any significant damage to my Bastiodon, and I do recall that his Bastiodon is low on health as well. So having that shield saved for that, just in case I'm in any type of, you know, emergency, which I don't believe I will. I bring down his Hunter with just fast moves there. And as soon as he brings his Bastiodon in, you'll see the big significance in health, and it's over for him. So it's a wrap up for round 2, and then that Marshtomp call was a pretty good call, actually. Okay, guys, so now we're at round 3. Nerves are everywhere. As you can see, he's chosen the same 3 Pokemon for both rounds. He's chosen Bastiodon, he's chosen Tropius, and Haunter. At this point, I'm thinking, you know, it's time for him to switch. Or it's time to do some changes. I don't know what it is. I can only assume he'll bring Azumarill or maybe a Metachan. I don't know. What I want you to pay close attention to is, this is the whole reason why I made this video. This last matchup, insane. When I tell you that it's insane, it's gonna blow your mind. I was able to defeat him in a very surprising manner. But I'll let you watch the video, and honestly, this is the reason why I made the video, and this is the reason why a lot of people were talking to me at the end of the tournament and like, wow, we didn't expect this that way would happen. I won't say much. I'll let you watch it, but it wasn't meant for me to win. But I still won against all odds. Now, I did win that second match, and I like that combination of Pokemon, so I'll be going with the same 3, except this time I'll lead with Bastiodon. He hasn't led with Metachan, but as you can see, he just led with Metachan, and that's the worst possible outcome. But we're gonna stay in here. Now, what you don't want to do is switch right away. The moment you switch, you get locked in. He chooses another Pokemon that's gonna be defeating you, and he just basically, ends up winning the game. It's really hard to come back from that. So what I do is I know that he can release a Power Up Punch, but after that, I'll have enough health to release a Flamethrower, and he's either gonna shield or take the damage, which he takes the shield, and as soon as he does that, I just switch. Next, bring Skarmory. You don't have to shield this Power Up Punch. It's not going to do much damage. I do believe this was his mistake, letting me farm a little bit of energy before swapping. He eventually brings his Bastiodon, which is, another bad matchup for me. So now that's two bad matchups in that same round. Stay positive. Don't panic. Release a Flash Cannon. If I can get to a Flash Cannon, I'll get to another one. If I can't, I'll just release a Sky Attack. Skarmory's purpose has been served here. Do as much damage as you can. Get that Bastiodon's health down. And hopefully Marshtomp comes back. And I know for a fact that he's farmable. Remember when at the beginning of the video I said I love Marshtomp because depending on what scenario you may find yourself, you can farm and you can basically kill a lot of Pokemon. Well, you don't have to block the first one. It's not very effective. And my main goal was just to try to farm three charge attacks. At this point, I had to use one of my shields. I had two. He had one. So, okay, let's even the odds here. Keep going with the fast attacks. There's no reason for me to shield. If he does swap out at any time, I already have energy saved. Burn his shields. And kill whatever Pokemon's coming up next. He brings up Haunter. Awesome. Awesome news. I panicked. I clicked on the serve. Whatever. He shielded. But here comes the second one. And it's Mud Bomb. He is part poison, so he's weak to ground. So there you go. One hit KO. He brings Metachan, but I do have that shield saved for the back. So I'm able to shield that. And I know I need like one or two more fast moves to be able to get to that serve. And hopefully KO him. There it is. There comes the serve. And there you have it. Marshtomp was my MVP of the cup. I did praise him the whole time, and good game on him. GG's. He played it out perfectly. He swapped when he had to. The moment I swapped to Skarmory, he brought his Bastiodon. Then he defeated me. I brought Marshtomp, but I just love Marshtomp. I love the strategy you use with them. I love Little Marowak. I love Skarmory. All those farmable Pokemon, it's the ones that I love. It's the ones that I can defeat a Pokemon and then be ready for the next Pokemon, and then hopefully get one or two attacks in, get the shield or get the attack or the damage, do the damage, and it's all over. And hopefully what you take from this video is, even when you're faced with the worst possible outcomes, like I was faced with against the Metachan with my Bastiodon, I swapped out. Then I was faced with my Skarmory was faced against that Bastiodon. Still make the most out of it. Don't give up the position that you're at by swapping too soon into a different Pokemon, because then you're locked in. And once you're locked in, you can't do anything else from there. It's gonna be a game over for you. Remain calm, strategize a little bit, realize that there's always one Pokemon that you'll be able to sacrifice in order to gain an advantage over your opponent, especially if you're down, like I was in that last video. But just, guys, keep your head up. I'd like to thank you all for watching this video. This is my first video ever. I've never done a video before, and tell me how I do, and like this video, subscribe, and tell me how I'm doing, what I can get better on, how I can improve. And then just comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and I'll read them, I'll reply to them, and I'll get better as we proceed, and hopefully make changes for the best. Thank you guys.